I'm Russell Composto, Associate Dean for the Undergraduate Program at the University of Pennsylvania. And I have two purposes in speaking with you. First is to encourage you to become an engineer. That's first and foremost. And secondly, I would like you to become an engineer at the University of Pennsylvania. So I'd like to explain the academic program we have at Penn that's set up for you. So before I begin, I want to just go over how do you know if you want to be an engineer? It's something you might be thinking about. First, you have to ask yourself, do you like to solve problems? If so, you can be an engineer. Do you like to understand how things work? If so, you can become an engineer. Do you have a strong work ethic? Engineering is a hard discipline, but very worthwhile. If so, you become an engineer. Do you have a passion for science and math? Are you enjoying that in your high school classes? If so, you should become an engineer. And then finally, if you want to make the world a better place, you should become an engineer. So engineers do a lot of things. They solve a lot of important problems. The ones that are circled in black are actually areas of research that are very active at the University of Pennsylvania, from reverse engineering the brain, to engineering better medicine, to cybersecurity, to improving solar energy and making it economical, to providing clean water security and access to many people. This slide's a little dated. It's about 8 years old, but it's still very relevant. There are a lot of very important jobs that are changing the world out there. But first, you need to become an engineer to help solve these problems. So although you're not able to be on our beautiful campus, I wanted to show you what the engineering quad looks like. You look in the center of the screen, that green building is one of our hub buildings. That's where computer science is. And then connected to that building are other engineering buildings. So that's where you would spend a lot of your time. We do have a couple new buildings going up in data science, in energy research, and in innovation that are outside of the screen. But I just wanted to give you a sensibility of what the engineering complex would look like when you arrive at Penn. So there are 4 undergraduate schools at the University of Pennsylvania. Engineering is one of the 4. The other 3 are the College of Arts and Sciences, where you'll be taking a lot of your natural science, your math classes, your social science, humanities. There's also the Wharton Business School, which is interesting to our students for dual degrees and minors in some cases. And we also have a world-class school of nursing. So to give you an overview of the engineering school, of what we're about, first and foremost, we're about academic excellence. We provide innovative classes and very motivated instructors who are using new technologies, new methods to teach. Importantly, we provide flexibility within a structured engineering curriculum, which means you get a core foundation in engineering, but there's enough flexibility to pursue your passion, to pursue your interest. Second topic is interdisciplinariness. Because Penn has 12 schools across a very small footprint, this gives us a real easy way of moving into education that is highly interdisciplinary, namely crosses over many different areas. We focus on research, innovation, teamwork, and being adaptive. Importantly, our students, they're our lifeblood. They are engaged, they're creative, and they're diverse. And I'll show you some of the clubs and some of the research activities at the end of this presentation that they're doing. And our mission statement for the undergraduate program is to design and deliver an engineering education that is rigorous, that is broad, and that it's relevant, and that prepares students for global leadership and technology-based fields. I'm not going to spend much time on this busy slide, but as you probably already know, engineers are highly sought after they graduate. So this is just some of the companies that our undergraduates at the University of Pennsylvania have gone to work for, from Google and Facebook to tech fields like Tesla and Lockheed Martin, and food-based companies even like McCormick. So our engineering students are well paid. And as the slide says on the bottom, 97% of our graduates are employed within 6 months after they graduated from the University of Pennsylvania. So let me drill down a little bit about the academics, and the core of the academics at Penn in the engineering school are the 6 departments. So this is electrical and systems engineering, this is material science, chemical and biomolecular engineering, bioengineering, mechanical engineering, and computer and information science. So those are the core hub and the hexagon that you see. And that's where you live. Surrounding that core hub are interdisciplinary majors. NETS, for example, is about connecting technology with social sciences. Comp E is computer science applied to devices or connected with devices. And digital media design is taking computer science and applying it to communication and animation. So those are interdisciplinary majors that you take courses from these 6 departments. And then wrapped around even that are more interdisciplinary academic pathways, the management and technology program, which combines engineering degree with a Wharton degree in business. And Viper is our energy related degree for students that are interested in energy research. That's a dual degree between the engineering school and the college. So that's sort of the home departments, interdisciplinary programs, and some of our what we call coordinated dual degrees, which is engineering and another school. To make it a little bit more simple for you, when you look at your academic plan at Penn, there are 4 buckets, and they're rather balanced. There's the foundational courses that you're already taking as a high school student to start your foundation, and the mathematics, and then the natural sciences, chemistry, physics, and biology. Right. The second big area is your engineering classes. This is your core discipline courses. This is what makes you a computer scientist. This is what makes you a mechanical engineer. This is what makes you an electrical engineer. The third bucket are more your broadening courses. They could be technical or they could be professional. And this is where you, for example, could do engineering entrepreneurship minor, for example. If you're not interested in a full-scale degree, like a dual degree, you can get some taste of the business and technology acumen that's part of the entrepreneurship program within that bucket. And then finally, we have a liberal arts-based education engineering. So about 25% of our classes are in humanities or social sciences, and then depending on what department, there are free electives as well. So the main picture I want to give you here is that we want to graduate well-rounded engineering students. And this is a quote from a mechanical engineering article about engineers of the future. And what I want to emphasize is the word adaptable engineers. If you're trained in the silo, it's going to be difficult for you to speak, to communicate with other engineers that were trained in different disciplines. And that's what we do really well at the University of Pennsylvania. We train you to be a mechanical engineer, let's say, or bioengineer, but you have a language to speak with the other departments because of the interdisciplinary nature of the education. So broadening out from the majors, your individual majors in your department or your interdisciplinary major, there are other options in the academic space. One is a dual degree option. I mentioned 2 of them that are coordinated dual degrees with the college and with Wharton. You could also do a dual major, and that's 2 majors within the engineering school. You could do a second major in the college. Let's say you're interested in Spanish, for example. You could have an engineering degree, and you could have a second major in the college in Spanish. We do have a sub-matriculation program as well. We also call it an accelerated master's, where you come in as an undergraduate. You finish your BSE or BAS degree, Bachelor of Applied Science or Bachelor of Science in Engineering degrees. And on the way, you move into a master's degree. And here the advantage is that 3 of the courses that you take as an undergraduate also count towards your master's degree. So for example, you could be a mechanical engineer as an undergraduate and you could move into the robotics master's degree program. You could also pursue minors, and as I'm going to show you in a second, what we're rolling out this fall is a beautiful, diverse set of concentrations that really speak to students' interest in technology and applications. So here's a slide. You could come back and review the details, but these are concentrations that we have now introduced across all of those 6 departments I showed you, and in addition, other fields. So in bioengineering, for example, besides your single degree as a bioengineer, you can get depth by choosing a concentration, for example, in neuroengineering. And the same thing goes for these other programs. So what we're rolling out this semester, and it'll be available for you when you come to Penn, are these opportunities to dig a little deeper into your discipline in a more applied way. If you're interested in robotics, for example, you can get a concentration in robotics. In AI, you can get a concentration in AI. So lots of these are more upper class courses that, again, let you apply what you learned early on in a more directed manner. You might be taking AP courses right now, or maybe you've taken AP courses. We do allow AP at the University of Pennsylvania and in engineering, in chemistry, in computer science, in math, and in physics. Since some of these change over time, I recommend you take a look at the admissions website. The link to the admissions website is written on the bottom. Please check that for the current AP credit rules at the University of Pennsylvania. So at the heart of what we do is education, particularly trying to educate you in the engineering field. And I show this slide to say we're always trying to be creative in how we teach. We have 3 active learning classrooms, and active learning means that the faculty, the instructors, the teaching assistants are more there as coaches. You're given problems to work on, problems to solve. You come together as a team, as in the bottom right-hand side. You work on trying to solve those problems as a team. You might share that with other teams that are working on the problem. And the idea is for you to come up with a solution that's unique to solving the problem from your perspective, from your group's perspective. Rather than the instructor telling you what to do or how to solve the problem, you come up with the solutions for the problems. And you stumble and you make mistakes, but that's truly when you learn, when you really are trying to work with others to try to solve a problem that's not just coming off the top of your head. And under Dean Kumar, we're investing in 4 more active learning classrooms in a new data science building that's being planned very soon. A list on the left side are some of the courses that we're teaching and many more in this active learning manner. So across all of the departments I showed you and all the programs, we have at least 1 active learning class that's being offered in that discipline. Advising is very important to us. You're all individuals. You're all coming in with different backgrounds. You all have different interests. So we have tiers of academic advising, I call it. Well, the first thing you might be asking yourself as a high school senior is like, how do I choose a major? How do I get help choosing a major? There are lots of ways to get help. The first is we have an intro to engineering course called Engineering 101 that's wrapped around climate, energy, and sustainability. But more importantly, it exposes all students in the class to the different majors and the different interdisciplinary majors as well, right? So that's one way you can figure out what major you want, and that's offered in the fall semester when you come in. Some departments also have introductory courses in their discipline. These are specifically for first-year students. If you want to learn more about bioengineering, there's an introductory course in bioengineering. You don't necessarily have to be a bioengineer after taking that course, but that's a way of learning a little more deeply about what bioengineers do. As far as advising, it starts at the departmental level. You'll be assigned a faculty advisor towards the end of the summer before you start your fall semester at Penn. You'll also get to know undergraduate curriculum chairs. These are faculty members who oversee the curriculum of the department. And then there are undergraduate coordinators who are staff members who you might go to, not necessarily for academic questions, but for just like general questions like, where do I find reams of paper? Or where do I get things copied? Or just, questions that come up on a day-to-day basis. We have these coordinators that are there to help you kind of navigate things. And then my office is called Research and Academic Services, where we provide advising broadly across all the undergraduates in the engineering school. And that's led by the chair of advising, Ms. Ellen Eckert, Michelle Rainey, William Wright-L, and myself do advising. The other three do advising daily. And actually when we've gone to remote advising, the office is doing more advising than we've ever done before in person. So I think there's something to be learned by providing when we go back to normalcy. The in-person advising, of course, is the most important, but to have some aspects of other advising that we've learned when we've been doing this remotely. More academic and other resources. You'll be assigned a peer advisor in the engineering school. June, before you start, you'll be put into cohorts of about 30 of 35 based on disciplines. And those cohorts will not only have first-year students grouped according to disciplines, but also upper class undergraduates in the areas that you've said you're kind of interested in. So you can hear from them over the summer before you start what mechanical engineering is really about, what electrical engineering is really about. Another important resource is Advancing Women in Engineering program. We have a director, Michelle Rainey. Michelle runs a pre-orientation program over a few days just for female engineering students. That's right before the start of the semester. You'll hear from Dr. Laura Stubbs, who's representing the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, about programs that she's crafted specifically for students like yourself. And then there are many, many university resources. On the left-hand, well, my left-hand side, there are affinity groupings that you might associate with. And on the right-hand side, there's learning, psychological counseling, tutoring, student health services, more general resources that you might avail yourself to at the University of Pennsylvania. One of the ways we distinguish ourselves is by providing research opportunities to undergraduates. And there's many ways that you could participate in research. One is at the university level. We have a Center for Undergraduate Research and Fellowships. That's sort of a clearinghouse where we as faculty submit proposals. They help match students with faculty who are doing research, and that's how you make the connection. And there's one very important one called PERM that's particularly for rising sophomores between your freshman and sophomore year and sophomore and junior year. They might be difficult times for you to get internships because you don't have enough experience yet. So the University of Pennsylvania has invested a lot of resources into providing these opportunities, particularly after your freshman year, so you can start building up your resume. Within the engineering school, we have the Clark Scholars Program. These are 10 students that we take in every year who are from underrepresented backgrounds, and they're exposed to a business, a little bit of a business and a research experiences as a cohort as they move through this program. And we have special advising too wrapped around the Clark Scholars. You'll hear about the LSAM program that Dr. Stubbs oversees when she speaks. We also have a Radcliffe Scholars Program, which is in its 12th year, which is aimed at students who came here really to do undergraduate research and are thinking about pursuing a PhD. We have a Little John research program that you apply for, you get funding, and then you decide what faculty member you'd like to work with. And we have a VIPER program, which is the Vagelos Integrated Energy Program that pursues a dual degree, but has a large research component that's required. We also provide research contacts through your department, through your advisor. We have an extensive alumni network. So if you're interested in who's working at Merck, for example, from the University of Pennsylvania that has a connection, we can help make that connection with you. Many of our students do independent research with us. They have work study. Sometimes that work study is done as research, and of course, there's always volunteering. So if you're interested in working with your hands or solving problems on a computer that is technologically relevant, Penn is a great place for you. So I'm nearing the end, and I just want to point out that we don't just teach students, but we try to do real world experience with students through laboratories. And this is just a collage of laboratories that our students are going through in every one of the departments: computer science, bioengineering, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, material science, and chemical engineering. Just to give you a sense of the vibrancy that happens when students get together to work with instructors, to solve problems with their hands. This is kind of at the core of our engineering education at Penn. So there are many, many clubs, there are many societies, there are over 30 clubs, for example. The slide is meant to just say what our philosophy is in the School of Engineering. We'd like you to lead by doing, and this means that sometimes you fail. If you have a pet project that you're excited about, please pursue it. Get your like-minded people together. We will help facilitate that, but we will ask something of you as well, right? And so we believe this is really the best way for you to learn, is by trying and sometimes failing, many times succeeding. So to summarize academics and Penn Engineering, we have a unique ecosystem with its 4 undergraduate programs and 8 professional schools. So Penn, University of Pennsylvania, is quite unique in the sense that we have these 12 schools that all of our students could interact with and learn from. Secondly, within engineering, we have an innovative curriculum. We have a balanced course load. We have an intentional sequence of courses for you to take. We allow enough flexibility and adaptability to let you explore technical topics that are of interest to you. It could be within the curriculum, but could be extracurricular as well. Many times our students do extracurricular projects because it doesn't fit into the scope of what we have developed, but we encourage students to be creative in that way. We have tiers of advising for you, from peer mentoring to departmental advisors to my office, Research and Academic Services, which handles students more broadly. We have instructors that are here wanting to teach you, wanting to work with you, wanting to get to know you. So because instructors are engaged, we're continually updating the course offerings. And finally, we have interesting, creative, and engaged students. That's the core of what we're about. If you have questions about the academics in the School of Engineering, I encourage you to shoot an email to Ms. Ellen Eckert. She is head of admissions in our engineering school, and she's also head of our academic advising. So please don't hesitate to ask Ellen any questions you might have. And with that, we're going to hand off to 2 upcoming speakers who will speak about diversity, equity, and inclusion. The next speaker is going to be Dr. Laura Stubbs, who's Director of DEI. And she'll talk about some programs that she's offering. And then following that, you'll hear from Professor C.J. Taylor.
Thank you, Dr. Composto. That was a fantastic review of all that's offered, all that we're offering here at Penn Engineering. And as it shows, we all work in partnership. I too am an engineer. I studied mechanical engineering and applied mechanics here at Penn Engineering. I also did an accelerated master's. After retiring, I returned to Penn Engineering 3 years ago. I'd like to talk to you about some of our signature programs and the purpose of our office. And as it states here, our purpose is to help you graduate. As Dr. Composto said, you are our lifeblood as students here at Penn Engineering. We support all students, including underrepresented, and we're particularly proud of a program that we have, the Philadelphia Lewis Stokes Alliance for Minority Participation, or LSAMP. We've been a charter member for a very long time here. And this allows us not only to interface and participate in the ecosystem that is Penn Engineering, but we also have 8 other institutions of various types around the region. But one program in particular, a couple of programs I'd like to talk to you about. One is our freshman coaching program. And as it states there, it mentions Gateway Math, Science, and Computer classes. You don't need to be a freshman in order to participate in our freshman coaching program. It's the name of it. And the courses may be considered freshman level. However, anyone at any time in their career when they're taking a particular course can join in. It's led by a graduate student or an upper class student. And basically, you learn how to form and benefit from study groups. It's been shown that if you can get together with your friends and discuss and kind of mull over things, like Dr. Composto said, you'll make mistakes, but you'll also learn from each other. And working in groups and teams is very important to us. You saw on the diagram that was mentioned our summer research program. It is a 10-week paid research program that occurs in our faculty, in our laboratories with our world-class faculty. Unfortunately, this year, we didn't host it because we went to virtual operations. However, we're looking forward to returning to that program in the future. You use your principles that you learned in class and then develop new skills in the laboratory. Because we're in an all virtual environment, we're not able to see each other face to face. So we had to change a little bit the way we operate with some of our other programs. We'd have study breaks during lunch hour. Now we have study halls. We also host webinars. Webinars were virtual environments where you learn how successful faculty, students, and others started their journey, just like you. Graduated from high school, you went to college, you're able to ask questions of the participants. For example, this summer, we also hosted a book club where there were readings on social justice, and we were able to talk about some of the current events. Study breaks, study halls, just like you would with your friends, you'd go to the library. Now you get together in group study virtually, and you can study for a test or a quiz, say. Another item that we're happy to host is yoga. I particularly looked forward to our weekly yoga sessions where we discuss mindfulness and relaxation and tension releasing methods. Dr. Composto mentioned our clubs and associations. Out of our office, we advise 3 specific student organizations: the National Society of Black Engineers, the Society of Hispanic and Professional Engineers, and the Underrepresented Student Advisory Board in Engineering, USABE. USABE is a relatively new organization. It's been around for about the same amount of time that I have, approximately 3 years. And what do we mean by underrepresented? It can be underrepresented minorities, first generation and/or low-income students. We have a representation from Society of Women Engineers. We have a new organization, Association of Muslim Engineers. LGBTQ students are also welcome, disabled, etc. Any students who may be considered underrepresented and want a voice. Last, we continue with the collaborations across Penn Engineering. Dr. Composto talked about the advising tiers that we have across the school. We work with those associated with the advising tiers. We also work with library and career services. That wonderful slide that showed the high percentage of graduates who have positions and jobs, full-time jobs within 98%. We also give students the opportunity to attend conferences for their associated organizations and connect with alumni. Next, I introduce you to Dr. C.J. Taylor, Associate Dean for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion.
Hello, My name is CJ Taylor, and I'm the Associate Dean for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion here at the School of Engineering and Applied Science at Penn. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you as you're considering the next steps in your education. I'd also like to applaud you for considering STEM as a field of study. Here at the School of Engineering and Applied Science at Penn, we truly believe that engineers get to create the future and that we need as many different voices and perspectives as we can in the field to make sure that the future is bright for everyone. I also believe that one of the most important things that Penn offers is a chance to receive a rigorous engineering education in the context of an Ivy League institution. As Dean Composto mentioned, all engineering students here are required to take at least 7 courses in the social sciences and humanities, including a course on ethics. The goal of our education is to provide our students with the tools they need to be leaders, not just in technology, but in society more broadly, since increasingly that is the role that we play as technologists. The events of the past summer have affected us profoundly here at Penn. They have caused us and many other institutions to pause and take stock of our schools. In our case, this has led to a redoubled commitment to build the kind of inclusive culture that will allow everyone to thrive. We have embarked on a number of initiatives, including more extensive training for faculty, TAs, and staff on inclusive teaching practices, a speaker series that will focus on issues at the intersection of technology, education, and society, and a fundraising campaign to support diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. These are just a few of the actions that we will be taking to strengthen our community here at SEAS. At Penn, our core values are embodied in the Penn Compact, which is based on the 3 I's: innovation, impact, and inclusion. Our goal at the School of Engineering and Applied Science is to excel in every area. I hope that we will have a chance to have you as part of our community of scholars, and I want to wish you all the best as you make this important decision.